Hello and welcome to the Creativity Cabinet. Today I'm going to be showing you how I use some Dollar Tree materials and a jar that I got at CVS and made them into the Crazy Chicken Lady. This is the plate and this is the jar. And these are going to be gifts. They're going to be gifts for another YouTuber. They are going to be gifts for my favorite YouTuber, Emmy Made in Japan, who raises chickens, and I know she loves chickens, and I think she would enjoy and get a kick out of Crazy Chicken Lady. I got the idea from Target.com, where I saw a sign that said Crazy Chicken Lady, and I immediately thought, oh, Emmy would love that. And then I thought, oh, I could make something like that. So I'm going to show you how I made both of these items, and actually I'm going to show you how I started out with this plate, which I kind of don't like how it turned out, so I decided that this was not going to be the one to mail to Emmy. But this will be a good way to show how I learned to correct my mistakes and move on. Fortunately, I had bought 2 of these red plates from Dollar Tree, and I was able to make this one, and this one turned out much better. That's the one that's going to be sent to Emmy, along with this awesome Crazy Chicken Lady jar. So let's get started making art. I started with an image of a chicken that I printed off the internet. I measured my plate and printed it so that it would go nicely in the center. Then I cut a piece of book cover vinyl. You can get this book cover vinyl at Dollar Tree during the back to school season. So I cut a piece to cover the chicken, and then I struggled a little bit, as you can see, to cover it with the vinyl, and then I just cut it out. Now, I was planning on being able to then just peel it off. This is going to serve as a mask for the plate, and I was planning just to be able to peel it off. Here you see me cutting some of the little parts with my little scissors. And when I tried to peel it off, I had a hard time. The paper really just stuck to that way too much for my liking, and I wasn't able to get, as you can see here, all the paper off. I was able to get some of it off, though, but not enough to really work for masking purposes. But I figured out a way to fix this. Here you see me sticking it onto another piece of vinyl. It stuck well enough to allow me to cut out the chicken shape, and then once I cut it out, I peeled it back off, and then I had another piece of vinyl where I could just pull the original backing off, and that was nice and sticky, and I was able to stick it to the plate to mask it off. Then I took some really kind of cool looking dimensional letter stickers. I'm not sure where I got these. These just came out of my stockpile. But I used those to spell out Crazy Chicken Lady. And those with the intention of those serving as masks. So here I am. I'm spelling out Crazy Chicken Lady. And at the bottom, I spell out feeds. And you'll notice that I start in the middle. I started in the middle there of feeds, and that made me able to get it on there in a nice centered way. And now I'm using some other letter stickers, and I'm spelling out quality. Again, I'm starting with that center letter, which is L, and I'm building out from one side and then the other to spell out quality, so that it ends up nice and centered. Then I took a waxy crayon-like marker that I'd gotten at Borders back in the day, and I used that to coat the edge of the plate so that when I spray painted it, it would stay red. Then I gave it a coat of white spray paint. After that dried, I gave it a second coat. But I think I put a little too much paint on it, and that contributed to why this particular plate didn't turn out as well as I had hoped. Now the paint was dry, and now comes the big reveal. I peeled off the chicken, and I peeled off the letters in Crazy Chicken Lady, and in feeds. Those didn't turn out too bad because I knew that I could kind of go over them with paint markers to correct them. But then I had a real problem with the word quality. Those particular stickers just didn't want to come off. And when they did come off, they took off more of the paint than they should have. There were a lot of kind of rough areas where too much paint had built up on the plate. I didn't like that, so I used my sanding sponge that I got from Dollar Tree to try to sand some of that down. I got some of it, but not all of it. Then I used a black permanent marker to color in my chicken. First you see there that I outlined the areas that I wanted to stay red, which were basically kind of the waddle on the chicken. And I used a yellow paint marker to give it a yellow eye. And now, once I got all the fine areas done, I took my big chunky black marker and used that to color in the whole chicken black. And you see me doing that there. And then I went back and I kind of touched up the eye with a yellow paint marker. Then I tried to kind of touch up where it says quality, and I used my red paint marker to touch up the crazy chicken lady red letters. And that worked pretty well, though I was still a little concerned about quality. I really didn't like how that particular part of the plate turned out. But here you see me going in with a black paint marker to go over those letters. And then I took the black permanent marker and I made a black border around all the red letters. And I thought that looked pretty good. But I had a problem because there was a lot of rough spots where the paint had built up way too much. And that made it hard for me to get nice straight lines. They would get all kind of crooked because they would have to go over these rough spots. That's probably the biggest reason why I ended up deciding that this plate just didn't quite cut it, and that I needed to do another plate to send to Emmy. Then I took my sanding block and used that to remove any excess crayon from the edge of the plate. I did notice that it did preserve the nice edge of the plate, giving me that kind of enamelware look that I was looking for. But I just really didn't like how that plate turned out. So I got another piece of book cover vinyl, and I just put it onto the plate, and I traced another mask onto the vinyl to go onto a new plate. You see me pulling that off there, and now I'm cutting out the chicken. I'm going to put it on the new plate, and I'm going to try. This time I decided I didn't want to bother with the spray painting, but instead doing some nice stuff with Waverly chalk paint. So there I am, I'm putting the chicken down, and then I thought I would maybe try to cut out the circle to use that for masking, but that ended up not really working at all, as you can see here. So I just decided that I didn't really need to mask the edges. So then I took a cosmetic sponge and I used that to just dab white Waverly chalk paint in the middle. I tried to make a nice kind of clean edge as best as I could on there, and just dabbed it all the way around to make a white center. Then I took a baby wipe and I used that to kind of wipe off some areas where the paint kind of went over and didn't provide a nice clean line. Once the paint was dry, then I had another big reveal. I peeled off the mask for the chicken, and it actually turned out pretty well, though the little parts between the legs didn't work out, but I was able to just take a little tiny brush, as you see here, and just fix that. And then I was able to take my black permanent marker and outline everything, and I outlined the parts that I wanted to stay red, and then I took my big chunky black marker and used that to fill in everything to make a nice black chicken. I also went in with my yellow paint marker to give it a little eye. And then I took my black marker and I used that to make a nice black border around the center of the plate. This helped me to cover up any sins that I had as far as the paint not working very well. I also used the black marker, as you see here, to give the plate a black edge. Again, I'm kind of going for a faux enamelware look with this thing. And I think that worked out pretty well. Then I took my rub-on letters that I got from the new Dollar Tree Crafter Square spot, and I used those to make the letters. Again, you want to be really careful with these because they stick really well. I found that the best way to do it is to cut out the letter, including the backing, put it where you want to go, peel off the backing, put it where you want to go, press it down, rub it, and then remove it. And you see that I started with the I in chicken, and in that way was able to make the phrase Crazy Chicken Lady be nice and centered on the plate. So these letters worked pretty well. Most of them worked just fine. There was a few of them that didn't quite come off all the way, but I was able to fix that using my black permanent marker. Then on the bottom I put feeds. Again, I started with the center, which was the second E in feeds. And that way, again, I was able to make it be centered when it was finally all finished. As for the word quality, I decided to just hand letter that, using a kind of nice skinny font. Then I went in with my red paint marker and I outlined all the letters in Crazy Chicken Lady Feeds. I felt like this helped the letters kind of pop a little bit more. I really liked the effect that and the way that it turned out after I did this. After the plate was done, it was time to start on the jar. I used a little plastic lid that I got off a can of breadcrumbs to make the logo to go in front of the jar. I started by painting it with some white Waverly chalk paint. While the paint was drying on that, I went to the lid of my jar and I started by giving the rooster on top of it a nice yellow eye with my yellow paint marker. Then I went in with a black permanent marker and I went around all the parts that I planned to stay red, which is basically the top of the rooster's head and its wattle. And then I went in and just filled in the rest of the rooster black. Then I hand lettered the phrase "Crazy Chicken Lady Feeds" using my black permanent marker all the way around the lid. I had made a logo on my computer by just putting the chicken silhouette into a word processing program, and then I sized it so that would fit on the plastic lid, and then I added the words "Crazy Chicken Lady Quality Feeds" in the copper plate font, and I also added a circle around it. Here you see me cutting it out and gluing it onto the plastic lid with a glue stick. Then all I had to do was take my hot glue gun and hot glue my logo to the side of the jar. And my Crazy Chicken Lady plate and jar were done. I really liked how they turned out. I hope Emmy will like them. Let me know in the comments if you think Emmy will like them. But don't tell Emmy, because I want this to be a surprise.